Ayo, the White Sox have started playing baseball. Baseball is back. We got 4 games to recap here on the CHGO White Sox Podcast. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast, coming to you live from Studio West of our West Loop offices here in downtown Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, my producer is Sarah.
The White Sox are killing it.
The White Sox are killing it. The White Sox are 3-1 to start off spring training. Just lost today on a walk-off homer by Zach Veen, who apparently added like 55 pounds over the offseason. Congrats to him on getting clean. But yeah, no, the White Sox lose in I won't say deflating fashion because it's spring training. They could have lost all 4 games, and I really wouldn't have changed my opinion on this White Sox team. It is spring training after all, but we will talk about it. There's StatCast data, so we'll get into some StatCast data on some of these pitchers. Again, it is very, very early to make any judgments. I'm not making any judgments. I'm just noticing what we've been able to watch or noticing what we haven't been able to watch. We'll talk about it. In the B block, we'll talk about our pal Roch, and how I don't think it's a rock in a hard place in the 2026 draft. It just seems to be rock. There's no hard place, you know. We're just I don't actually understand that slogan or euphemism. So if anyone wants to explain that to me in the chat, that's fair. But I just know there's no hard place. It's just rock. And then in the C block, we'll talk about the people that have left. Moncada, Robert, Vaughn, and now Eloy is with Toronto. Toronto might have found a diamond in the rough in Eloy Jiménez. He's been elevating the ball, had a double and a homer, I think, in a spring training debut for the Toronto Blue Jays. So we'll talk about the people that have left the White Sox. If you have any thoughts, let us know in the comments. We got Cole Dietrich in the chat saying, even though it's early in spring training, wow, had he amazed me. Do you think there's a chance we can keep him long-term? Talking about Munetaka Murakami. And then also Reyes Pro saying, we're so back, and we are so back. It's never been more back than right now. White Sox are likely to win the World Series. I'll probably take that back. But no, let's go into Cole Dietrich talking about Munetaka Murakami. Murakami's been pretty good. He played in his 3rd game today. He played against the Rockies. It was probably his 2nd best day because he ends up getting 2 hits. I'm not freaking out about it because we still haven't seen a homer. He is obviously 4 for 10, which is hard to complain about a 400 average, so let's go. He had 2 really great hits in that Cubs game in that first game. Both were over 100 mile per hour exit velocities. One was hit really deep into center field. It should have been an out. Turns into a double. Suzuki lost it in the sun. But also, it could have been a homer in 16 out of 30 parks.
Typical Seiya.
Well, yeah. I mean, Suzuki has a tough time playing right field. So then putting him in center field. That's why you have PCA. So you won't worry about that in the regular season. But with Murakami, it's been fun. I mean, I just want to play the South Side thing. Do you have that, Sarah? He is just such a joy. It is impossible not to smile with this guy. He's learning English. Chuck Garfien on the White Sox Talk podcast was trying to teach him some White Sox English terms. And here is him saying, South Side.
South Side. The Cubs play on the north side. White Sox play south side. You understand south side?
South side.
And you want to be like, South Side.
South side.
He seems like he's doing, for a person that does so much media, for a person that has so much attention on him, it is very fun and refreshing to see every interaction that he has.
He's the cutest.
He's very cute. Yeah. No, and I think the other thing too, Chuck shows him Hawk Harrelson's home run call, and he does his best to do. You could put it on the board. But then he nailed the yes part. And that was the nice emphasis there from Munetaka Murakami. However, there are some concerns. He hasn't walked yet. Does seem like he's being somewhat aggressive, which is expected. He's had 14 plate appearances. I think 10 plate appearances, sorry. Because he hasn't had a sac fly or a walk or a hit by pitch. So he's had 10 plate appearances. 4 strikeouts, 4 hits. Not bad, right? Like pretty decent average, but he is striking out a fair amount. However, when you look at StatCast data, because now we do have it, 16.7% whiff rate in the zone, which I think the worry was the contact rate would be around 72%. That whiff rate, and it's not saying he's making contact and putting everything in play, but that whiff rate is closer to 80, which is a lot more stomachable. I think Colson was around 82%, and we saw how he was able to have so much success when he was able to elevate baseballs. So, very small sample size, only 10 at-bats. Again, we can't make any large assumptions. I have thought that he would be good prior to the NPB or prior to the White Sox signing him. I thought that, he would get a larger contract than he ends up getting him. I'm very happy the White Sox have him. He looks like a slugging first baseman. Uncle Ted asked, why isn't he playing third base? It's way more valuable than first base. I think the main reason is because Japan is going to likely play him at first base in the World Baseball Classic. There's going to be times where he needs to go over to third base in a substitute role, it seems like, but largely he's going to be playing first base. Suzuki is mainly playing center field because that's what he's been doing for Japan in the World Baseball Classic. So I think Munetaka Murakami is largely going to be playing first base for the White Sox and Japan. Third base is more valuable, but also I don't think he can do it. It seems like a backup role for Japan for Murakami to play third base. It didn't seem like the White Sox planned to ever play him at third base. I think it's largely because they've seen him play third base, and I don't think that's a major league third baseman. That'd be my guess, but we'd have to see more and more reps for Mooney at third base. But he does seem extremely ready for this. I think that he doesn't seem to be afraid of any lights or anything. Like we talked with Yaku Cosmo about him batting behind Shohei Ohtani in the last iteration of the World Baseball Classic, and there he kind of seemed to feel that pressure. But even at this World Baseball Classic, I think he's going to be able to, take that full on and embrace that jitter, right? When you look at Ilya Malinin at the Olympics, he talks about how they should have sent him to Beijing because then this moment in Italy wouldn't have been so huge for him. He would have been ready for the moment. I think Murakami being a part of that moment already and maybe not being ready in 2023 is going to lead him to being very, very ready for 2026, at least for the World Baseball Classic. And I do think that him rattling off some Spanish, him trying to learn English, it seems like he's trying to embrace being a Major League Baseball player, and I think this is a guy that's going to have a ton of success. Velocity is the biggest concern for him, but if he's able to train on it and he's able to catch up more often, I think that this is going to be a very big season for Murakami. He did have a decent amount of whiffs today, and I think most of them are against changeups. I think he's really gearing up for fastballs, so we'll see if, maybe that's his weak spot in the first month is, not against fastballs, honestly. It's more against changeups because I think he's really geared up for those fastballs. I think that might be a fairly deceptive pitch to him, even though I thought, with his prior MPB knowledge, or at least prior MPB experience, he'd be used to splitters, but again, splitters that are at like 78 miles per hour compared to like an 85 mile per hour changeup in Major League Baseball, it's a lot different. That reaction time has to be a lot shorter. All right. Beyond Mooney, because we talked about him for about 8 minutes here. Sam Antonacci in the first game hit an absolute bomb. We're going to play some Sam Antonacci here because I did not include this in our Sox Fest vlog. We have about a 3-minute clip with Sam Antonacci. I just didn't feel like I connected with Sam Antonacci, but I just watched it. I thought it was okay. I thought Sam actually gave pretty good, decent answers. And whether or not he was a decent interview or not, the only thing that matters to Sam Antonacci in his baseball career is playing baseball. And when you see him drill a 109.5 mile per hour exit velocity homer and just roping it over the right field fence, your eyes perk up. And I definitely, can toss it up to Jamison Tyone, giving him a fairly meatball-less pitch on 0-2. Definitely not the 0-2 pitch that I would have thrown, an up and in fastball. But hitting it at 109.5 is fairly significant. Chase Mydroth, who Mydroth and Antonacci will likely be fighting for a roster spot. Antonacci is a left-handed hitter, so maybe that helps Antonacci in that battle. He also has a little bit more speed than Chase. Maybe Chase is going to be a decent enough middle infielder, especially with this contact. We'll have to see. Maybe they keep both of them. But Chase's top exit velocity in spring training from last year, regular season, whatever, is 107.7. And nearly 2 miles per hour with Antonacci here is fairly significant. I thought that the hype coming out of the AFL was mainly about his speed and contact. But if he's able to be less of a 5-homer guy and maybe like to a 10 to 12-homer guy, that's a completely different profile if he's stealing 40 or 30 bags, something like that. Let's get to that Sam Antonacci interview before we hit the break. You guys can hear from Sam Antonacci. I think this is going to be a player that likely makes his MLB debut this year. I do say in this back and forth with Sam, how many bases did you steal last year? He didn't know. I didn't know. I threw out a number of 30. It was 48. So if this is a player that's not 5-homer pop like he was in 2025 and maybe is closer to, again, 10, I think that this is a very different player than I was assuming. I thought he was closer to the 409 slugging percentage, but with a real true slug like that, I don't know. Maybe he could be something around like 420, 425, something where I don't think Chase Mydroth could be. Let's hear from Sam Antonacci. We got 3 minutes from Sam. Talk about his baseball journey. Here's Sam Antonacci. With Sam Antonacci of the Chicago White Sox. Sam, what was last year like for you? You rose up the prospect rankings with a really great year. What was the biggest takeaway from 25?
Honestly, just meeting a bunch of new people and learning how to interact with them and play the game the right way with them and have the same goal in mind to win a championship at the end of the year. But just having a good old time and stacking days, to be honest. Just going in each and every day, being a professional and getting your work in, and then playing the game. I've always grown up loving to play. So.
How much has your process changed since college? Like, have you sticked with this mostly the same routine, or have they been able to add more into your routine and the ability and the strength that you're able to add?
I'd probably say a lot has changed just with the fact that I don't got to do as much school anymore.
There you go.
Just the way I eat, the way I sleep. You're able to get a little bit more sleep and able to cook a lot more for yourself when you don't got to worry about hitting the books after practice. So. But baseball-wise, nothing really has changed. Just keep the same work ethic and keep preparing the way I've always have.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing podcasts in college, and then I stopped going to college, and my whole time freed up. Like, what is it like now being a professional baseball athlete, where you just get to focus all your time towards that?
Yeah, it's everything you dream of as a kid. Just waking up, and the only thing on your mind is, how can I get better at this game that kids play. And to do that for a living is every little kid's dream, and I'm just taking each and every day and thankful and not taking any day for granted.
Getz seems like he's been drafting a ton of athletes and, with the idea that they could possibly plug and play anywhere. Do you have a primary position that you feel the most comfortable with, or do you feel very proud that you could probably play second or third if asked?
Yeah, I take a lot of pride in being able to put or go anywhere wherever they tell me to, or go in the outfield, go in the infield. Honestly, whatever glove they tell me to use, I'll put it on. Honestly, wherever they need me. I didn't get drafted as the Chicago White Sox to be a second baseman. I got drafted to be a ball player. So wherever they need me, wherever I can be in the lineup and help the team win. So.
Yeah, you racked up a ton of stolen bases last year. It was like 30 or something. What was it? Do you remember your stolen base number off the top of your head?
I have no
30
idea.
something. Like how much is the base running game changed from college to the professionals? Do you find it easier to steal bags?
Not necessarily easier, just a lot more detailed in the work that I do and my coaches do as well to be prepared, just with like steal times, catcher pop times, and stuff like that. I think it's very underrated, but I think I have to give a lot of credit to my coaches that I had this past year who took a tedious amount of effort into their game planning for that, and I attribute to my success to them, and it's made me a better player overall.
Cool. Appreciate it, Sam. Thank you so much. We're back here on the CHGO White Sox Podcast. We're going to take a break, but again, I feel like I just did the bad job. I don't think Sam, I think my judgment was a little clouded there. I think I was just a little too anxious about that. At the end of the day, Sam gave some pretty good answers. I like the answer that he was just drafted to be a ball player. I think if they gave him a catcher's glove, I don't think he'd be comfortable with it, but I think he could do it. Uncle Ted in the chat saying a 25 and 25 player. No way. There's no way I think he's going to be at 25 homers at all. And I was probably even too high at like 425 slugging percentage, because still that would have been like what? Like a Randy Arozarena's pop, which I don't think he's going to be, 27 homer guy. So, maybe a little too high on that for my end. Maybe, Luis Garcia Jr., 412. He had around 16 homers. We'll figure that out, but I don't know about that. But yes, I was wrong on 30 steals, 48, which is way, way insane. If he's able to have a decent amount of pop, 10 homers, be able to steal and create an insane amount of balls, I feel like he would take on playing the outfield if asked. I think that's a huge player that will be a part of the White Sox future. We're going to take a break here on CHGO White Sox Podcast. We'll talk about Edgar Quero, Tanner McDougal, Alexander Alberto, and Jetix Paez and Ways after the break here on the CHGO White Sox Podcast. We want to let you know about our great friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. During the Winter Sports Showcase, we cashed in on a plus 400 Alyssa Liu to win the gold medal ticket. So we're very happy about that, because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. When you bet $5, your first bet of $5, whether it wins or loses, you get $200 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, whatever your heart desires. And maybe, just maybe, you are interested in Munetaka Murakami to win Rookie of the Year. Our friends over at Bet365 are boosting his odds to win Rookie of the Year, American League Rookie of the Year, from plus 500 to plus 550. So head over to the Bet Boost page of the futures section on Major League Baseball if you're interested in that. Again, playoff season is here. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up using code CHGO365. Place a bet of $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or lose, must be 21 plus. If you or someone who has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, in-app only. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Huel. Huel is a game changer for those that might be in a rush or have stuck to their goals in 2026. The Huel Black Edition Ready to Drink protein is what I'm showcasing right now, the chocolate peanut butter flavor. But we are pretty much 2 months into 2026, and if you have stayed true to your New Year's resolutions, that means that you're likely working out, you're getting fit, best shape of your life, right? You're ready for spring training. This is perfect for a high protein routine support. It also helps on busy days, habit building, convenience, plus control for this time of the year. This is great in a pinch for me when I forget my lunch. I can down this in 5 minutes. It's under $5. You get, I believe, 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and it's a complete meal that you can grab and go, whether to supplement your day or to supplement your workout. So head over to our friends at Huel.com/White Sox 15. Use code White Sox 15 over at Huel.com/White Sox 15. Thank you to Huel for partnering and supporting our show. If you're busy, this is a game changer. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox Podcast. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We are going to hit the big takeaway presented by Xfinity. Imagine that. We'll talk about the MLB 2026 draft that will be coming up in July. White Sox have the number 1 overall pick. I think you know that, and it's becoming more and more evident the more and more games he plays that Roch Cholowsky is our guy. He was obviously last year's Golden Spikes winner in college, and people are wondering, if Justin LeBron has an incredible season, or, AJ Gracia, which I don't think is going to be the pick. He's more of an outfielder, first baseman type. It would likely be LeBron or Grady Emerson, the prep player. But this weekend, it was like, oh, wow, Justin LeBron hit a homer. Then you refresh your timeline, and it's like, oh, wow, Roch Cholowsky hit a homer. And then you'd refresh it, and it's like, wow, Justin LeBron hit another homer. And then Cholowsky, again, another homer. These two going back and forth is not a problem for the White Sox. It's just maybe a small problem because the Twins might end up with Justin LeBron, which, hey, that's just how it goes. But Cholowsky does seem to be head and shoulders the guy. There is no doubt that this is a major league shortstop defensively. Josh Nelson highlighted one of the nice plays that he made, just quickly transferring the ball from his glove to his to his arm and making a nice play while charging in on a ball, getting a guy out at first. We highlighted the play last week of him heading out into the outfield, similar-ish to Colson Montgomery's Colorado play when he made his major league debut. Colson made a more difficult play, but still Cholowsky ranging into the outfield, making a play behind his back. A very nice range from Cholowsky, but the pop has been absolutely undeniable. Justin LeBron, in his first 38 plate appearances, a 286 average, a 474 on-base percentage, and an 821 slugging percentage. That's pretty good. Roch Cholowsky, 35 plate appearances, 3 less, a 393 average, a 486 on-base percentage, and a 1.143 slugging percentage. So yes, Justin LeBron does have a very nice 12-something OPS. However, Cholowsky, with his 1,600 OPS, is just echelons above him. LeBron has 5 homers. Cholowsky has 6. LeBron has walked or struck out more, actually. No, yeah, I have my numbers flipped. So LeBron does have a 23.7% walk rate and a 10.5% K rate, where Cholowsky 11.4% walk rate, 11.4% K rate. You know, it's not the end of the world. I think mainly too, there's a difference. LeBron has played easier competition. Cholowsky just played a top 10 team in TCU and dominated, and again hit 3 home runs this weekend. One of them was to the opposite field, to like dead right center. Like, this dude's got some crazy pop. It's obviously with a metal bat, but he just hits everything in the zone. He's got a 234 weighted runs created plus. Justin LeBron, even though it's a 286 average, 474 on base percentage, 821 slugger percentage, it's only a 137 weighted runs created plus. Like, Cholowsky is just in a completely different hemisphere right now than everyone else in college baseball. He is by far the prospect in this draft. That is the big takeaway presented by Xfinity. Imagine that. Let's head back to spring training and talk a little bit more about the things that have stuck out to me. Obviously, Munetaka Murakami, we've mentioned. Sam Antonacci, we've mentioned. We do have some comments jumping in as well. Fat Hipster saying any player named some form of role. Roland is a real name. And then Jeremy Bradford saying, cheap Jerry better not mess up the first pick. Jerry really won't factor into this. Again, we've talked about like the signing for Cholowsky. I think the number 1 overall pick will carry enough enough force for Cholowsky. Cholowsky does seem to be a baseball historian. There's a great write-up from The Athletic about Cholowsky, and they talk about how he just loves this sport, that he knows everything about this sport. He knows everything about everything, whether it's baseball history or other teams. He eats and sleeps baseball, says senior right-handed pitcher Michael Barnett. I think that if you offer him the highest bonus, which I think is Paul Skeens in 2023, it was like 9.1. The White Sox can go up to $11 million. If they offer 9.5, 9.7, something like that, go above the bonus, but still save, 1.1 million, they'll have Cholowsky. So I really am not worried about him not being a Major League Baseball player. He's not going to go back to UCLA for a senior year and then, do this again. He will sign with the White Sox. I don't think that they're going to screw around with him. They have enough money to lock this guy up. So it's really not an if, it's just when. And it's more, 5 months. It's just July 11th. We know when. It's very clearly that this is the guy. All right, let's go to other spring training news and notes. Edgar Quero had a very, very nice first day to himself. We're going to see more Edgar Quero once Kyle Teel goes to the World Baseball Classic and plays for Italy. I think right now, why you're seeing so much Teel in the first 3 games or 4 games, I think he's played in 3 of the 4 games where Quero has only started in 1 game, is mainly because you have, not only Quero and Teel, you also have Corey Lee that's been factoring in. But I think Quero is going to get a ton of runtime in spring training once Teel finally gets jettisoned off to the World Baseball Classic. Quero, pretty solid first game for himself. Let's see. We have the at-bats for the Chicago White Sox. Edgar Quero has made 3 at-bats in spring training so far. And what I find very important is that in those 3 at-bats, he has 3 hits. So let's go Edgar Quero. He's just been fantastic behind the plate as well. 4 RBIs also in his first game. But he had another play where he threw out a runner at second. I talked about it last week. I think that he is a player that I've slept on a little bit. I think, Sarah, you put up the VOD where I think you mentioned that the White Sox are sleeping on him, which I thought was funny. Like, I think the White Sox are very, very excited, and I think the White Sox know exactly what they have in them. I personally was just sleeping on him. I just think, a ton about Teal, and I think that, he seems to be the guy that has the edge in the clubhouse. But again, Quero's going to be 22 still on opening day. He's still not 23, and he won't be 23 until April 6th. That is, I think, someone to watch out for. He seems to be a professional hitter. He called himself a professional hitter, and with his ability to drive the ball a little bit more, if he's able to have double gap power, truly look out for Edgar Quero. I do think the framing and the defense is a work in progress, but again, he's 22. He's a very young player that I think can make very large strides very, very quickly. Let's talk about some pitchers real quick. Today, Shane Smith pitched. He threw 25 pitches, 18 of them were fastballs. One hit 97. The other ones were sitting around 95. He's fine. I think this was truly just get the work in start. He threw, again, 7 non-fastballs. I think he also has a sinker. So, he probably threw 2 sinkers too. I actually forgot to look. So he probably throws 20 fastballs in total today, and 3 breaking balls. So I think it's part of just getting into the rhythm and getting to the work for Shane Smith. So I wouldn't look too into his start today. However, Tanner McDougal had himself a weekend. Our guy, TJ Stats, who has been on the show before, puts out top velocities from each and every spring training day. And yesterday's was truly, I think, 10 of the 11 spots were taken up by Tanner McDougal. There was one Red Sox that had a pitch velocity higher than Tanner McDougal, but Tanner McDougal was just sitting at 99.5 miles per hour yesterday on his four-seam fastball. We'll talk about the shape of the four-seam fastball in a second, but his slider, deadly, 110 TJ stuff plus, 66 grade in total. He threw that in the zone 70 times. Absolutely disgusting. He threw his curveball 3 times as well, 113 TJ stuff plus, a 77 grade. It's an absolute disgusting pitch that gets nearly probably 13 inches of horizontal break towards his glove and probably about 12 inches of drop. It's absurd. So I cannot wait to see what this guy turns into, whether it is a starter, which seems to be his likely role, or whether it turns into him being a closer, because this is closer stuff. But again, he could be a starter, which is why I'm just fairly geeked about Tanner McDougal. There is some worries about the fastball shape. The grade on the fastball is a 56, which is above average, but the stuff plus grade is 99, which again is average. The main thing is the velocity. But what you do see is where he was throwing the pitches, it was mainly up in the zone. And our guy TJ mentions the shape isn't too exciting, but the velocity is key. He also expects the vertical angle approach, or the vertical approach angle, to be steeper, since he had a lot of high fastballs. So the VAA was negative 4.1, which is very, very flat. That's DeGrom-ish. You want it to be a flat entry level, harder to square up. It being at 100 miles per hour is already hard to square up, but it's very flat. It's hard to get under. But it might not cause that many whiffs. We'd have to see, though. There is some of his pitches that were closer to an 18 induced vertical break. He was mainly sitting at 13.4. I'd have to look back at his year stats from actually, I don't think we have numbers from last year from Tanner yet. But he seems like a major league pitcher, very clearly. So Tanner McDougal, I think at some point in 2026 will be on this major league roster. Finally, somebody that might be, or kind of has to be, on the opening day roster is Alexander Alberto and Jedrickson Paez. I am a little bit concerned about these two projects. They were Rule 5 picks. Paez was the first one. He has not pitched yet. Alberto has. We do have some grades on him. The four-seam fastball, which was his main pitch just about 2 days ago. Yeah, on the 21st. 11 thrown, set at 97.1 miles per hour. Again, when we're talking about flat fastballs, McDougal being at 13.4, right? 20 would be elite. Our guy Alexander Alberto, 8.3. So out of like 440 pitchers last year, 8.3 of induced vertical break would rank 432 in Major League Baseball, and his 2 inches of horizontal break would rank 420th. He really does only have extension on his side. He gets down the mound fairly quickly, 7 feet of extension, which is tops of Major League Baseball. And he does have velo. Again, 97.1 is fairly decent. His cutter, which I thought was the big pitch for him, only thrown 4 times, 97.4 miles per hour. That got a TJ Stuff plus of 103. So an above average pitch there, but it seems like cutter slider might be his 1-2. It doesn't really seem like the 4-seam is anything to write home about. I would probably scrap it. Got a 20% chase rate, 33.3% whiff rate, which is okay. But then when it was made with contact, expected weighted on base average of 434. So he got fairly rocked, and we haven't seen Paez at all yet. I'm just concerned that these projects might be a little bit too much to chew. It doesn't really seem like these are going to be guys that are going to be able to stick out entire seasons on a major league roster, but we'll have to see. Let's get into some other spring training stuff after a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. If you do have any thoughts, let us know in the chats. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. We'll be back here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. I told you, got up to the 60s the past couple of weeks, but winter is here. It feels like 0 out in Chicago. Is your home's heating up for the challenge? Now is the time to schedule your 4 Seasons furnace tune-up. If you're thinking about a whole home generator, they have you covered at 4 Seasons. They guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs with no extra charges for nights, weekends, or holidays. You could save up to $4,000 on furnace and comfort systems with 4 Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Furnaces start at $39 a month, and furnace AC combos from $57 a month. Call today and save $50 from your trusted local experts at 866-4Seasons, because 4 Seasons are your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric, and they've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. So visit 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's 4seasonsheatingcooling.com, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Ray CDJR. The auto show is currently going on, and over at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, you can score a great deal at the auto show sales event. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles, and right now get 0% financing for 72 months on new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram models. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000 with a friendly team of brand experts. The team at Ray CDJR are here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey, and since they prioritize affordability, you know you won't overpay for your next vehicle with the Ray Price Promise, because the price you see is the price you pay. They keep it very simple at Ray. The price you see is the price you pay. You can walk in confidently knowing that you're going to get a great deal over at Ray CDJR. The team we recommend at Ray CDJR is the only one we recommend. Don't miss out on the auto show sales event for huge savings on all new models. For more information, visit Ray CDJR on Route 12 today in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox podcast. We have a sale going on over at allchgo.com/intro. If you do want to sign up to become a diehard, check out this offer. $36 for 1 year. It's regularly $79.99. You're saving $44. It's 55% off. You get full NFL combine coverage all week. You get complete access to our draft guide, scouting reports, prospect breakdowns, analysis. You get a free shirt of your choice. They're showing off the Iceman one down below. We have the pizza one, the CTA one. There's some White Sox ones as well. You can go check those out on our website in premium football coverage all year long, along with baseball. The sale will run through the end of the combine. So head over to allchgo.com/intro today. We'll get to some diehard Discord comments in a section from our guy B-Dams and Melissa, or our gal, Melissa. So we'll talk to some diehards in a second. If you do want to join our diehard community and join the Discord, head over to allchgo.com/intro or scan the QR code. All right, let's get into some, will it sting talk. We do have some old faces that have won division championships with the White Sox that are still kicking around. Obviously, Yohan Moncada was with the Angels last year, had a pretty decent year, but like Yohan Moncada does, was injured for most of the year. But he's back with LA. Robert, notably, traded this offseason to the New York Mets. He seems to be doing well. He also seems to be having some lower body stuff that flagged when he got over to the Mets training camp in, I think, Port St. Lucie. So we'll see how Robert does. Vaughn's with Milwaukee. He just played against the Sox on Sunday. That was definitely a story from last year. Is it, consistent for him, or can he keep, repeat that this year? We'll have to see. And then Eloy Jiménez didn't play in the majors last year. Went to Baltimore after the White Sox in 2024 and just kind of fell off completely. This was a guy that, like, pretty much every, not 75%, but every 0.7% of his at-bats was hitting a homer in his first 2 years with the White Sox. Then in the next 2 years, it was like 0.4, which is still decent. And then the last season was 0.17. And I think in the last 36 games with the White Sox, he had one homer. Went to Baltimore, only hit one homer with them. And that was in Colorado. So it felt like it wasn't even like a true home run. And then last year he was with Toronto, Tampa in their minor leagues and just never really caught on. And he's back with Toronto. It seems like he's caught on to something with their hitting coach. David Goggins. It's not David Goggins. That's the Army guy. That's crazy. But they had a ton of success, obviously, with the World Series last year, reviving George Springer's career. And it seems like they might be reviving Eloy Jimenez's career. He had a ball like completely out of the Red Sox stadium. They have like the fake monster. He could hit it completely up and over into the parking lot yesterday. And I was thinking about this, and you let me know your thoughts, White Sox fans. I'm not saying I'm the end-all be-all on this. This is just my opinion. Out of these four, Moncada, Robert, Vaughn, Eloy, if, all four of them were to have success, which one would hurt the most? And I think it might be Eloy. It could be Vaughn, because Vaughn's just a draft pick, should have kind of fell in line with Konerko, Thomas, Abreu, the long lineage of first baseman that we've had. Vaughn going and doing what he's done in Milwaukee is just pretty much what we thought he could have done with the White Sox, like his whole entire career. So it's both surprising and also frustrating that he just immediately clicked on with them. If Robert stays healthy and has like an MVP level season, like I don't think that would surprise anyone. But also, like, were they ever going to sign Luis Robert Jr.? If he became a free agent in 2 years, were they going to sign him? Like, I don't know if I was ever attached to Robert, because it always felt like he was going to be something special. If he is something special at a point where the White Sox would never afford him, like, I don't know if I'm that attached to him. Also, if he's not fast and isn't able to play the outfield, is he a good enough hitter to be a DH? This is obviously if everything goes right. Moncada, too, like, a decent player, but he was worth like $25 million at his peak. Eloy, being a DH, I think he could have really carved out a tenure with the White Sox. Maybe Vaughn is the same way, but paying for power isn't extremely expensive. They gave up $17 million for Murakami. If they were getting 30, 40 homers or 30 to 40 homers from Eloy Jiménez, and not, the 6 they got from him in 2024, I feel like he could have been a White Sox for a long time. And I think if he goes out to Toronto and starts hitting like crazy and finally has another 30 homer season, that's going to sting a lot more than Robert doing well with the Mets. Because again, it kind of felt inevitable that Robert was going to go. And with Moncada, I think most people either loved or hated Moncada to the point where it's just kind of sick of talking about Moncada in any way. I was just happy to see him go. Vaughn was frustrating because I was a believer. And then, this whole stint with Milwaukee is just made me want to kind of wring his neck in a Bart Simpson way. Like, it's like, why couldn't you just done that here? Where Eloy, his issue was just drilling balls into the ground. And now if they're able to, elevate the ball with him in Toronto, he could have a 10-year career post this, just hitting home runs as a DH. He could have done that with the White Sox. Just needed to learn to elevate the ball. And it seems like, hey, it's 2 spring training games or whatever, so I shouldn't get too ahead of myself. But maybe, just maybe, Eloy Jiménez can haunt us because the White Sox got what? Trey McGow for him and some cash. So woohoo. They got nothing they got Savale for Vaughn. Nothing. For Robert, they got Acuna and Truman Pauly. So we'll see. They got money. And then Moncada, they got nothing. So outside of Moncada, I think they got the least for Eloy. Also maybe why it stings, but you let me know. Out of Moncada, Robert, Vaughn, Eloy, who hurts the most? I think that's a Rascal Flatts song. Shout out to Rascal Flatts. Anyways, let's get to some commenters. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure to subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. I think we have a comment from Skid Daniels. Skid Daniels had a comment. Oh, no, it was one of the screenshots I sent you. Sorry. Our guy, Skid Daniels, said, love Sean, and this is on Spotify, hate when he says ilk. So that's a note, and that's noted to our guy, Skid Daniels. Love you, Skid Daniels.
Do you say ilk a lot?
I think I said it in that Acuna podcast a decent amount. I said he's a hitter of this ilk, I think is what I was saying.
I was like, I don't remember you saying that.
I think it's a pretty good word. I don't know like what else you would like me to say. I could say type, sort, class, category, group, set, bracket, genre, kidney, which that one feels weird, but you have two kidneys, grain, species, race, that seems iffy, strain, vintage, make, model, brand. Now we're talking about cars. Acuna's not a car. Stamp, variety, family. Ilk just sounds the best, but I'll back off for your sake, Mr. Skid Daniels. All right, let's get to Jose, whose profile picture is fantastic. It's Gengar with I Heart Beer. So, Jose, not only do you heart the show, but you also heart beer. We appreciate you that for Jose saying I listen to the show every day. I had this screenshotted a while ago. Jose commented this probably a month ago. So, hopefully, Jose's still listening to the show. Shout out to Jose for listening every single day. Finally, we do have some diehard Discord comments. First up, B-Dams asked about the lower organizational thoughts. We'll get into that, and I could kind of roll in Melissa's question. Melissa asked, SoxMom72, what were my thoughts on Cannon against the Cubs? How will he be able to work himself into the White Sox mix? I think Cannon is very likely going to start in Charlotte. So we'll start in Charlotte with B-Dam's question. I mean, I think they're going to get a decent amount of length from Cannon. I just think his pitch mix is fairly uninspiring. He doesn't have a good fastball. He can't locate well. If he's going to be like Logan Webb, he has to locate like Logan Webb. And he's not good at that. He's got more, honestly, like velocity than he does like control. He's got more break and kind of stuff that way rather than control. So I'd rather him kind of chase four-seam changeup mix where he's mostly sinker, cutter, slider. I would maybe want to see him change to a four-seam changeup mix and maybe change and mess with his arm angle. But I think Cannon, at his current position, is just quad A pitcher. I think he can make starts at a major league level if needed, but I don't think he's any great shakes. I don't even think he's like a future fifth, at least at the current moment. So, we'll see. At AAA, though, Chad Pinder is now the new manager. He got promoted from, I believe, Kannapolis up to AAA. It might have been Winston-Salem. I'm wrong on that. But he was either a AA or Advanced A or A ball, and now he's promoted to Charlotte. It was a very short drive. I think it's Winston-Salem because he's part of the write-up at the Charlotte Knights thing it's a short drive to his new job. But anyways, you should see Cannon in the rotation. You should see Noah Schultz, Tanner McDougal. So it should be exciting to watch some Knights baseball just because of the pitchers, but also it's just a tough environment for those prospects to thrive in. The most hitter-friendly park in all of minor league baseball is Charlotte. So, I don't know if I'm going to be expecting great shakes from Chad Pinder's Knights. The Knights typically are a bad team because they don't have the power to really keep up with any teams. And you look at their hitting, and it's little to no power. There really isn't anyone that interesting on the AAA team when it comes to hitters. They have a decent cache of catchers. You have Jacob Gonzalez, former first-round pick, but there's no Ramos anymore. The outfielders are interesting, but I don't know how good they actually are. I think they're going to be a sub-500 team. I'm not very excited about AAA Charlotte. When you look at AA Birmingham, Hagen will obviously start down there. Guillermo Quiros was moved from the AA manager to, I believe, Advanced A, and then Patrick Leland, son of Jim Leland, former Tigers manager, former Michael Jordan manager, is now the AA manager. Fangraphs projects both Antonacci and Joral Perez to be in AA, along with Bonnemer, along with Braden Montgomery, and along with Sammy Zavala. So this does seem to be like the team to watch out for. They did win 80 games last year. They have been fairly competitive at the AA level over the past 2 years. I wouldn't expect them to stray from that. I don't know if the pitching is going to be as good as it once was because they had McDougal, Schultz, Smith, but I do think that the hitters are fairly interesting. So we'll see if the White Sox can maybe depart from a pitching-led Birmingham to a hitting-led Birmingham. That could be fun to see. Advanced A, it's a fairly boring team. Not really that many interesting prospects. You know, they're 56 and 74 last year. I think they'll be around 56 and 74. I don't think you should have to pay attention too much to Kannapolis. We'll have to see, obviously, who steps out. And I think I might be missing some kids. I think Aldrin Batista is likely to be at Kannapolis. So it's not like they're completely void of all talent, but you're likely not going to be paying too much attention to Kannapolis this year. And then at A-ball, you have Fauski and Wilkow. That outfield should be fairly interesting. And what can Wilkow do this year? And they are managed by a White Sox legend, Jason Nix. So that is pretty much only reason to tune in because you could watch, I think, good old number 5, Jason Nix in action again. They were 64 and 68 last year. I would assume more of the same unless Wilkow just turns into a true monster, but we will have to wait and see. EV in the chat saying Eloy is going to walk us off and cost us the wild card spot. We'll see. Hey, Swaggy McNoleg says, I'll pretend to be excited. Let's go White Sox. Let's go White Sox. It's, spring training, so don't get too excited. I don't think actually anyone's like too excited, but, it's exciting at least to have baseball back. And I just wish CHSN would capitalize a little bit more on having broadcast rights to these games. I know no one really wants to watch the White Sox and Rockies, but I would. Do I want to watch the Bulls-Knicks replay from last night where the Bulls lost their 9th straight game? Not really. I'd watch Munetaka Murakami take some at-bats, though. I'd watch Shane Smith pitch. I'd watch Grant Taylor throw 100. I am fairly frustrated that, you just don't get that representation from CHSN. So that's a little to be brunt about it. But anyways, real quick, Grant Taylor did pitch. I didn't include this in my spring training recap, but an inning pitch for Grant Taylor, 0 hits allowed, 0 walks, 2 strikeouts, 83.3% strike rate, a 116 TJ Stuff plus on his 4-seam fastball that averaged 99.6 miles per hour. Yes. Curveball clocked in at a 110 Stuff plus. It's 71 grade, so that's 2 pitches at a 71 grade. And then he threw 2 sinkers as well that averaged 100.4 miles per hour. That has a grade of 106. And then he threw 1 slider, and it had a grade of 129, which would be an 80 grade slider. So very interested to see what Grant Taylor can do. If he is able to hone in that slider/cutter that he talked about last year, or if he just can save that in his back pocket and people can just be worrying about fastball up, curveball down, and then he throws in that slider, I think he's going to be a phenomenal relief pitcher this year. There are projections that he could be a top 10 reliever. I don't think he's going to be getting saves. I think it's going to be mostly Sir Anthony Dominguez, but you'll want to watch Grant Taylor whenever he does pitch. That's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. We will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We will talk to you at 5 p.m. here on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Goodbye.
We all silly like the